Доналд Трамп и официјално ја презема функцијата председател на САД. Инаугурацијата заврши со сензационалистичко потпишување на бројни одлуки со глобални импликации. Во Газа пак се слави прекинот на огнот и растат надежите за траен мир. Првата размена на заробеници меѓу Хамас и Израел се случи минатиот викенд. Се очекува следниот да се случи и втората размена. Добре дојдовте во уште еден лавиринт, јас сум Кристина Атовска. И овој лавиринт повторно почнуваме со Соединетите Американски држави, од таму ја имаме репортерката Jallysa Dugrot со која ќе проанализираме или позборуваме за тоа како помина инаугурацијата на Доналд Трамп, староновиот председател на Соединетите Американски држави. Малку спектакуларно помина овој чин на инаугурација и оно што се разликува од останатите, односно предходните церемонии за новиот председател е тоа што Доналд Трамп уште на самиот ден, на самата церемонија потпиша бројни одлуки или укинување на одлуки на својот предходник кои не се однесуваат само на политиките внатре во Америка, туку имаат и глобални импликации. Одиме во Флорида, разговараме со Jallysa Dugrot. Jallysa, thank you very much again for joining my show after the inauguration of the President Donald Trump. Thanks again. And first of all, I would like to hear your opinion and public opinion about his inauguration. It was pretty spectacular. It lasted all day long, and what is different from the previous inaugurations, except that the ceremony was inside because of the cold weather, but what is the big difference is that the new president immediately started signing decisions. So what is the public opinion in the United States about this way of celebrating the inaugural day?
Thanks so much, Christina. Yeah, it was definitely a big day, extremely televised. There was lots of talks around it. Definitely the fact that he sat down to sign off some of those previous amendments or laws that Biden had in his previous term. It was definitely performative. It was extremely long. We saw a lot of reactions from his guests there. He had Jeff Bezos, amongst other, extremely famous and wealthy members there. But definitely just sitting down to sign, everything that he did, what it implies for the country, and that he did it so publicly. Even I think signing these things and deciding to make note, publicly, trying to take a hit at Biden. Did Biden do this, or who did this? Who could have done this? So he definitely wants Americans to know that he is moving on day one to get things done, even during his inauguration. And so there's a lot to be taken from this for sure, but definitely just the signing of all that he did and what those imply for the country.
And for the rest of the world, apparently, because in all of this period behind us, while we were talking about gender rights, LGBT rights, actually Trump and his people were working on withdrawal of the Paris Climate Treaty, which is a huge implication also for the rest of the world. So there were also some reactions from European country, from European Union, from China as well. What is the public opinion about the withdrawal from Paris Climate Treaty and the World Health Organization?
The United States, I believe, is second or third CO2 emissions or those emissions. I mean, Donald Trump historically has never really prioritized climate change. It was definitely something that Biden prioritized. Biden said that he wanted to make us number one in the fight against climate change. Donald Trump also historically tried pulling us out of the Paris Treaty during his first term. It was only that we couldn't pull out until after 3 years of signing, and so we had to wait until, I want to say it was 2020. But by then he wasn't in term anymore. Donald Trump has historically said he doesn't care about climate change. In my personal opinion, it's just not tangible enough for him. He can't see it right in front of his eyes, actively happening in front of us. Anyways, Donald Trump said in his inauguration, he's pro drilling, pro oil and gas. We said he'd always been skeptical about, climate change. So I think that this is particularly harmful because the United States put a lot of money and a lot of effort into this, and so we were a huge backer in this for a while, especially with all of the aid and just the collaboration provided into this treaty, which is why it takes 3 years after ratification to even leave, is because it requires a long-term commitment. We really need to see this through. Climate change is just, it's something that needs to be addressed extremely quickly. We have all of these, extreme fires, the extreme weather all over the world. And so I think it's definitely a level of concern for sure. Donald Trump sees it as an opportunity to salvage our economy. We don't need to be involved in this. We can push away. He also talked about wanting to bring or get rid of the windmills. So I think he has a lot of ideas on how he can circumvent this, and we can kind of handle climate change in our little bubble here in America, but it's always bigger than that. I think other countries are disappointed and nevertheless a little worried, just because it takes a village. It's not just going to take the United States saying, well, we're going to do our little part over here. And so I think there are definitely some concerns there.
Yes, as I mentioned, the European Union is also raising concerns, and they are basically starting with some maybe new foreign politics after this withdrawal. And of course, I would like to ask you about the pardon of the rioters of January 6th, 4 years ago, when he was not re-elected. And he was also again running for president, and the massive chaos that happened in Washington, D.C. So what do you think about this? And of course, we talked last week that Mr. Biden also, before leaving the office, he also signed pardons for people he thought that might be prosecuted.
Definitely. So the J6 rioters, it was a pretty black and white situation. The majority, I can say the majority sentiments and opinions on that here in the U.S. is that Donald Trump intentionally incited and kind of was the catalyst for that situation to take place, and for all of these J6ers to begin revolting. I mean, there were a ton of cops assaulted. A lot of property was damaged. It was a really, really big day in history. I mean, even in the U.S., as a joke, they say when you meet somebody new, you say, "Where were you January 6th?" Because it was a divisive moment for the country for sure. You were either at J6 or you weren't, and it told us everything we needed to know about you. So in terms of getting pardoned, I think this is kind of a compromise to our democracy. I mean, these are people who stormed the Capitol, inflicted violence, and they were rioting for whatever reason. And this is because they felt that there was foreign interference or just interference in the election, and that Donald Trump had won and the numbers were skewed. And it's like, this isn't how we're supposed to act. This is not how a dignified and a proper country is supposed to act when we're met with results, whether we like it or not. So I think either way, because let's just take out the factor whether it was true or not, I think that this is a threat to our democracy and quite frankly our system on how we just how we govern and hold people accountable, right? What does it say if we're allowing these kind of acts to happen and allowing people to act this way, and then they're just pardoned pardoned on a whim. I think that we needed to see trials. I do think that we needed to see people, you know, um, tried and to serve punishments and not necessarily sentences. You know, I mean, no, I think the death toll was extremely low, if not at all. I think it was just more injuries than anything. And so I think it's a threat to our democracy to pardon a bunch of, you know, rioters that were intentional. I mean, we're talking about the Capitol as well. This isn't, you know, it would be bad either way, but we're talking about the Capitol. What does that say for security? So I think this is, I don't agree with it. I don't think it's a very good idea. The message that it sends really is that Donald Trump, I mean, like we always knew, will act with impunity. Does not um, he he does not respect you know, the democracy, the laws that we have in place. He'll do anything within his power to create his own or circumvent these to gain maximum impact of whatever outcome he desires. So I don't think it's a good idea. I'm not a fan. It sends a very bad message. Likewise with Biden. Biden had an extremely controversial term in terms of foreign policy, in terms of everything that happened with our proxy wars, even with his son Hunter in the laptop. And Biden, I think Biden, for the most part, tried to save face and say that this couldn't be him. He would never pardon. He's going to let the system do whatever the system does for those that deserve it, you know, and try to be you know, the good president. But Biden, at the end of the day, I mean, these people, they're looking out for their own. At the very end of the day, they're looking out for their own. So Biden issued a blanket pardon for people he felt that I know there was a general, his son, right before you know, he left the presidency. He issued a blanket pardon because these people, I mean, at the end of the day, they're bigger than us, they're more powerful than us, they have more money than us. They're going to protect their own. And I think all across the board, Democrat, Republican, you know, liberal, conservative, it doesn't matter. This is a threat on the due process to bring justice where it's served and to hold the appropriate people accountable for things that they've done. I think that there's a very big threat to that.
And the Democrats tried to show that they're not the same like Donald Trump or the actions that he did during the past elections. So the President Biden attended the inauguration of Donald Trump, and we saw also other former presidents attending this event, like Obama, Bush, Clinton. They were all there trying to prove a point that a democratic transfer of power is the most important thing. But Joy, one more question at the end, because at the beginning you mentioned the tech magnates. They had a privileged place on the inauguration day. The 5 tech magnates, they were around Donald Trump as his guest of honor. So what is the message he's trying to send to American public, maybe the rest of the world? Because we can also sense here about the deal about saving TikTok that probably will end up in hands of one of these tech magnates in the United States.
Definitely. Zuckerberg, Bezos, and we know that Elon Musk is a part of the cabinet for the White House. Definitely interesting here. It's a billionaires club. It's a big club, and we're not in it. Is what it says there. I mean, I think Donald Trump this time around, something that's definitely different from his first term to his second term, is he can be influenced. I think it's more apparent now. He can be influenced and he can be bought. I mean, when we look at the political scape and all of these censorship laws, and you know, with social media, like you said, TikTok, with X, with Facebook, they're shifting their policies towards a more favorable stance for Donald Trump. We're all kind of appealing to Donald Trump at this point. I think that they're paying to influence. This is definitely what it is. His circle is extremely telling. I want to say the first term it was like strictly politicians for the most part, you know. But now he's definitely moving towards you know, the billionaires club, and I think that there's a heavy amount of influence in here. I I think a lot of his policy is going to come from the influence of this circle. I think it's a dangerous game right now because he has the influence, the support, the lobbying, and the help of the most powerful billionaires in the world. I mean, this is there are big implications here. This is going to be very, very large. And so, I mean, what's to come? I think that there's going to be a lot of control in the hands of the elite. And so I really think all we can do is pray. It's a little scary, just because of you realize who his circle is, who his circle controls. Mind you, this is Facebook. We're talking about speech. Donald Trump dubs free speech. You know, like we should have free speech. He even abandoned X, or Twitter, before it became X and moved over to Truth Social. So now I think that it's going to be we're going to have to pay very close attention and see how this impacts the media, because all of these people that attended are all media, so I think this will be very interesting. But more importantly, I think we should keep our head on a swivel for sure, because these are pariahs in the business of the billionaires club.
Yes, and you mentioned free speech. That is also part of his agenda, but that is also part of every journalist's agenda to get to gain the fight about the free speech. Jallysa, thank you very much again for this calling, and of course we will follow up the news that are coming from United States. I have a feeling it will be very interesting a period, and there will be very interesting decisions coming this way from American president. I think about this international treaties and his intentions with it. So we will talk soon during this or next month. Thanks again.
Amazing. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you. Od sad se selime vo Gaza. Raste optimizmot vo pojasot Gaza po primirjeto koje го potpiša Hamas i Izrael. Prvota razmena praktično se случи изминатиот викенд на заробеници или на заложници. Хамас ослободи 3 израелки, а Израел ослободи околу 90 палестински заробеници. Оваа сабота, овој викенд се очекува и втората размена да се случи. Од оно што можев да го заклучам по разговорот со моите колеги внатре во Газа, оптимизмот е бескрајно голем и сите се надеваат дека ова примирје нема да биде само привремено, туку е првиот чекор до траен мир. Одиме во централна Газа, каде разговарам со колегата Ракан Абед Ел Рахман. Тие се уште немаат, не е стабилизирана се уште состојбата со храна, вода, струја и интернет, иако Старлинкот на Илон Маск е внатре е пуштен во Газа, сепак струјата, водата и останатите основни потреби се уште не се доведени на едно задоволувачко ниво. Одиме со разговор во централна Газа. Rakan Abed El Rahman, thank you very much for this interview. I would like to hear from you and to tell my viewers what are the latest information from Gaza Strip. You are currently in central Gaza Strip. It's been few days since the curfew, so tell me what is the situation at this very moment.
Yes, as you know, and all the audience know that the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas came into effect before 3 days, and the people were very happy from this announcement because it stopped the airstrike, the Israeli airstrike, and the killing of civilians. Who for over 15 months now they relieve and relax that these airstrikes stop. There is no more casualties of children and women, and they are just now they are waiting to return to their homes from the areas that they were fled to avoid the Israeli airstrikes and the attacks over the 15 months of this war.
And there has been an exchange of prisoners. Hamas released 3 women, Israeli women, kidnapped 15 months ago, and Israelis returned around 80 or 90 captured Palestinian people. So there is information for another prisoners swap this Saturday. So do you expect everything to happen just like the first, everything to be in order?
Yes, last Sunday there was delay in releasing the Israeli hostages because Hamas delayed of delivering the names of these captives because the Israeli drones were hovering around the Gaza Strip, and was not a condition in the agreements because the Hamas fighters need some space to know where is these captives and their names. So there was some delays around 2 hours or 3 hours to release their names, but the second phase or the next names of captives who will be released next Saturday. It will be more easily. Hamas said in a statement that it will deliver the names of these captives maybe tomorrow or on a Friday, so to make the process more easily.
And
So I think it will be more easily and better than what happened last Sunday. And by the way, after Hamas releasing these hostages, Israel will allow for thousands, maybe we can say tens of thousands of displaced people who run or fled their homes in northern Gaza to the south of the Gaza Strip. They will allow them to return their home starting from Saturday after the releasing of these hostages.
so now at this moment until this weekend, the people are still not coming back to their cities. It's that what you're saying?
Yes, yes. No, some families return to Rafah. Rafah is the last city, or it is in the southern of the Gaza Strip. The Israeli army withdrew from this city, but still in the Philadelphia corridor, okay, which separates Gaza from Egypt. The Israeli army is still there and even open fire for anyone who breach this area. Last Sunday, around before the the ceasefire came to effect because of delay. The people did not know there is delaying of the ceasefire. Israeli army killed around 20 people, more than 20 people who breached from the Israeli forces. Was in the south. In the north, the residents who fled from Jabalia refugees camp, Beit Hanun, Beit Leah. These areas are in the northern of the Gaza Strip. These families fled this area to the Gaza city. But when the ceasefire came into effect, they returned to their families, to their areas in the north. So right now we have in the central Gaza Strip and in Khan Yunis city in the southern Gaza Strip, families, thousands of families who are originally from the Gaza city and from the northern area. And as I told you, they are waiting the releasing of the second group of Israeli captives, which is on Saturday, and then they will cross the Israeli barriers or Mediterranean corridor that separates northern Gaza from South Gaza.
Of course, in all of this time, what is the most important for the civilians is the humanitarian aid, food, water, medicine. So after the curfew was the ceasefire, sorry, after the ceasefire was arranged, the trucks with humanitarian aid started going into Gaza. So what is the current situation? Is there enough food, water, and medicine for all the people in need in the Gaza Strip?
Yes, over the 15 months of this war, there was a severe shortage of food, medicine, essential supplies, fuel for running the generators of hospitals. There was really a severe shortage of these necessities for the lives of people of Gaza Strip. But when the ceasefire came into effect, and as a part of this agreement, around 600 trucks loading with aid supplies, including food, clean water, medicines, and even fuel to generate the hospitals, the power plant, the electricity power plant. So so f- so this process is going easy. Okay, as I told you, every day it's supposed 600 trucks will enter Gaza now from Kerem Shalom crossing, the Israeli crossing with Gaza, and also from the Egyptian, the Rafah crossing that separates Gaza with Egypt.
And you mentioned hospitals. So, how many hospitals are now operating in Gaza? Last time I spoke with people from the Red Cross in Rafah, they said that the situation is devastating. We saw so many hospitals being hit and destroyed. So, what is the medical situation at the moment? Are there hospitals or even montage hospitals for the people in need?
Yesterday or 2 days ago, I went to Rafah city to check how is the situation there. And on my way, I saw the Abu Yusuf al Najjar hospital. This is or this considered the only hospital for the residents of Rafah city. This city, unfortunately, is completely destroyed and cannot provide any medical care for thousands of residents in Rafah city. Also, we have Nasser hospitals. It is in Khan Yunis city, but it does not provide a complete health care for the patients and injuries who injured during this war. It cannot make complex surgeries to save lives of people because of shortages of all medical equipment. You know, so moving to the northern of Gaza, we have three hospitals in northern Gaza: Kamal Adwan Hospital, Indonesian Hospital, and Al Auda Hospital. These hospitals, we are talking about Kamal Adwan Hospital and Al Auda Hospital, it are completely destroyed. So wherever you go to any area you go, there is no good health. There is no good healthcare system in Gaza after this war. There was the Ashifa Hospital. This was the main and the largest hospital in the Gaza Strip. This hospital also was completely destroyed when the Israeli army attacked the city and attacked this hospital specifically during the war. So the medical situation is really in dire situation, and it needs urgent needs and urgent aids, medical aids of all kind of medical aids, so the people of Gaza can receive a proper treatment.
And after the ceasefire, are there more humanitarian organization entering Gaza? Because so far only the Red Cross was present in Gaza, and we saw attacks on other humanitarian convoys, for example, on the convoys of UN or World Central Kitchen. So, what is the situation now after the ceasefire?
Yes, hopefully the more international organizations, will get into Gaza after the ceasefire came into effect. Hopefully, these organizations will provide more assistance for all sectors of the Gaza Strip. We are talking about all sectors of the Gaza Strip have completely destroyed, and the residents of Gaza need these organizations to rebuild the sector and back life to and return the life for Gaza. I know there is Red Cross, as you tell. There is the WHO is working also in the Gaza Strip, beside the World Central Kitchen and other international organizations. And hopefully, by the ceasefire agreement, these organizations have the capacity to expand its efforts to distribute more aids for the Gazans and people in need. Hopefully so.
And what about the electricity and the internet in Gaza? We know that it goes on and off, but what is the situation now? Before we turned on this conversation,
Yes,
you mentioned that you have no electricity. What is the situation now?
yeah, yes. For over I'm sorry. Yes, as I told you, for over 15 months, there is no fuel entering to the electricity company. It is the only power plant that provide electricity for the whole Gaza Strip. As I told you, there is no electricity at all in the Gaza Strip, just some generators in the hospitals that receive fuel from international organizations to operate this generator. But generally, all the residents of the Gaza Strip does not have electricity, does not receive do not receive electricity. And as you can see now, I am just talking from you from it is a cafe center, because I don't have electricity at my home, because the area around me was completely destroyed. My home was destroyed. My neighbor was destroyed before during this war, and all the internet nets were completely destroyed, beside the electricity and also the water pipes. So uh, Gaza need Gaza needs new infrastructure for everything, for electricity, for sewage water, for water, even for clean water, to provide clean water for the residents of Gaza. And hopefully, all these things will be available for the people of Gaza after the ceasefire came into effect. Hopefully so.
Yes, we all hope that the war will end for good and the Gaza Strip will be restored, because from what we can see from the footages and pictures you provide from there, we can see the devastation, which is so big, even unimaginable. And Rakan, I would like to ask you, because you were in Gaza all this time working as journalist. You mentioned that your home was destroyed. So how hard it was for you and for all of our colleagues to stay alive during these 15 months. And where did you stay during these 15 months? Where were you? Where did you hide? How did you manage to save your life in all of this period of time?
Yes, it was very difficult time for us. For me personally, I am a father of four children, so it was very hard for me to go to my work and leave my children behind because I have to provide for them as like any residents in the Gaza Strip. I have to provide them food, water, clean water, a safe place for them. But and this was a huge pressure on me how to balance between my work and my family. In the first 2 months of the war, I fled to Khan Yunis city in the southern Gaza Strip with my family and my home. I left my home here because also my friend from northern Gaza came to the central Gaza, and I gave him my home just to stay at it. But when the Israeli army attacked Khan Yunis city last December, I fled to Rafah again. I fled to Rafah again, looking for a safe place as Israel designated Rafah as a safe area. So I ran with my children, my four children, and my wife to Rafah and stayed there for not too much, just 4 days, 5 days in a tent. But honestly, I decided to return to my home that was destroyed and build some walls in it to to see it's better for me to stay in my home instead of living in a tent. Okay, so this is me personally, and from time to time I had to go to film stories across the Gaza Strip, which was really very risky because every time I go to film, I feel this time will be my will I feel that this is my last time, okay, to be out and will not be able to see my family again. And every time I see children with injuries or died because of these Israeli airstrike, I imagine that my children might be in this situation at any moment, and this was really hard on me to bear this. It was unbearable at all, okay, because you don't have any place to hide. You don't have shelter here in Gaza Strip, and you are at any time you will be targeted from Israeli army because the Israeli forces targeted every corner in the Gaza Strip, even the designated areas, safe areas that the Israeli army called the people to go in. They however they targeted these safe zone and killed children and buried children alive. You know, I saw children burned alive in these dens and these safe areas. So there was no place, there was no safe place in the Gaza Strip, and also Israel, as you said about my colleagues journalists. It was very hard for all journalists in the Gaza Strip to work freely because at any moment these journalists might be targeted. Over over this war, more than 200 Palestinian journalists have been killed in this war. They were killed just because they were telling the news, telling the facts, telling what's going on in the Gaza Strip as Israel prevents the international journalists to come into Gaza to cover this war. So it was our job. It was the job of the Palestinian journalists to tell the world and show the world what is really happening here in the Gaza Strip and how Israel targeting civilians and killing civilians in the Gaza Strip and killing more than 15,000 innocent people here in the Gaza Strip. And the numbers may increase as the civil defense here in the Gaza Strip is starting to digging under the rubble to pull out the bodies of these people and the bones of these people. And some reports says that the number of dead people maybe exceed 100,000 residents, and which is really a high number in the 21st century.
The highest, it's officially the most dangerous place to be in the whole world during these past 15 months. And Rakan, I would also like to say thank you as a colleague journalist for all the job that you've done, you and the rest of our colleagues. As you mentioned, the foreign press was not allowed to enter Gaza during these 15 months. So all the news and all the footages and videos and pictures we could see on the foreign media are actually made by you, by Palestinian journalists. So that's why your job is very important. And basically, in this war, it was the only way for the rest of the world to see what is going on inside Gaza Strip. I would like to ask you one more thing about the public opinion about Hamas. What the people think after this war started for Hamas and Hamas leaders.
Well, the people of Gaza Strip uh, see what happened in the Gaza Strip is a way of resistance of the Israeli of Israel as it occupied the our land in 1948, and it does not accept the two-state solution. Okay, and they have said that Israel over 72 years of this occupation, it did not accept the Palestinian state, okay, as the international, according to international law and the international UN Council resolution, and they say that this is the way of resistance, okay, even if Israel killed all of these innocent people, but still Israel is an occupation force. It is an occupation force, and we have any available tools to free to free their land and to establish the Palestinian state, because Israel over 72 years did not accept the Palestinian state. The resistance of Palestinian state, even Israel is an occupation. It refused to end its occupation for the Gaza and the West Bank and establish a two-state and establish the Palestinian state and accept the two-state solution. This is the opinion of the Palestinian people here. Until now, Israel refuses the two-state solution according to international law and according to a resolution that made by the UN and all the organizations.
Yes, but is Hamas getting support from the people, or is there any other, I would say, party that can come basically and rule, govern with Gaza Strip?
Uh, In fact, Israel refused the Palestinian Authority to control the Gaza Strip. Israel does not want Hamas to control Gaza Strip. It refuses the Palestinian Authority to control the Gaza Strip. So, who will control Gaza Strip? Also, Israel does not want to control the Gaza Strip because it knows the consequences of control this strip. It suggests that some Arab forces may control this strip, but the Israeli countries, the Arab countries, refuse this offer. So I think the only power now that can control the Gaza Strip is the Palestinian Authority. Okay, because it is it has the relations or conducting to it has the relations and the ways of impose the security here on the Gaza Strip and the to rebuild the Gaza because the all donors wants the like want the Palestinian Authority to not like that, but how can we would like say it? I think the Palestinian Authority is the authorization side that will rebuild Gaza.
And Rakan, at the end, this ceasefire is temporary, but do you expect this ceasefire to be just a start for a lasting peace? And of course, there are hard negotiations in front of us and in this next period. But of course, we all hope that the war will not be restored. But uh, what is your personal opinion and the opinion of our colleague journalists? Can this ceasefire bring lasting peace?
Yes, I think this ceasefire, the condition of this ceasefire can bring this a complete ceasefire. We are waiting the end of the first phase of this agreement. In the second phase, which they are in negotiation now, I think it will be the withdrawal of Israeli forces from areas in the Gaza Strip. I mean, Philadelphia corridor in the south of the Gaza Strip and Mitzrayim corridor, as I told you, that separates northern Gaza from the southern Gaza. So I think, in my opinion, if Israel withdraw from this area, from Netzarim corridor and Philadelphia corridor, and accept the conditions of this agreement, I, I think the war will, the ceasefire will continue, and there is no any chance to the fight to return. This is simply my opinion. And the
Let's
flowing of and of course the flowing of humanitarian aid and the building equipment and rebuilding and the starting of rebuilding Gaza again.
Yes, let's hope for the best. This ceasefire was really some bright line after 15 months of a very cruel war and very cruel situation for all the people in Gaza. So the whole world is now hoping that this ceasefire will lead to lasting peace. Rakan, thank you very much for the time you spent to talk to me and to give some insight to my viewers about from Gaza and Gaza Strip. And thank you again for your work and your job during the past 15 months. It was really important for all of us and for the journalism itself. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Ви благодарам за вниманието со кое не следевте. Од овде од студиото во Скопје на Медија так се одјавувам и се гледаме повторно следната недела. Довидување.